Nishtha and I welcome you all on behalf of KidzLive. Hope you all are in pink of your health. As we had promised to make you meet new people while sitting at home, we are back yet again with another episode of KidzLive. Experiential learning is the process of learning through experience. To enlighten her views on this topic, we have with us Vice Principal of Bhavan International School, Jaspreet Kaur. She is a skilled and dynamic facilitator with 16 years of teaching experience in developing a learning environment for students and awarded with Best Teacher Award in the Torchbearer Award ceremony in 2013. She believes that inside every child is a rainbow waiting to shine. It's our duty to groom them and provide them with a platform to learn and grow. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nishtha, for the opportunity. And I'm really glad to be here. And I think this will be a very, very enriching session for each one of us, since the topic is very, very unique, that is experiential learning.
We also have with us Mr. Amit Mishra. Amit is an entrepreneur and enabler in the Indian startup ecosystem for almost a decade now. He advises companies on the Indian entry strategy. He is also a TEDx speaker and works closely with some government initiatives too. Welcome, Amit.
Thank you so much, Nishtha. And welcome, welcome, Jaspreet ji. It's a pleasure to hosting you. I think
Thank you so much.
Right. So let's start with the first question I usually ask, and I'm sure that this is a question which nobody asks teachers. How was your childhood? Because you work with children every day. I don't think children would ask you, "Ki ma'am, aapka childhood kaisa tha?" But how was your childhood? And were you always wanted to become a teacher, or there was different aspirations while you're growing up?
I feel that my childhood was really very, very good, and I was a fun-loving person. But as you said, that is true. I always wanted to be a teacher, because my mother used to tell me when I was only 5 years old, that time I used to make the chairs as these children, and I used to stand on the table and with a stick in my hand, and I used to start teaching in the class at home. So teaching, I think, was there by birth. So and being with children, I've always loved to be with the children, and I feel that teaching is a very, very noble profession. And with this profession, you can really, really reform the country, which is the need of the hour. So in case, if the professionalism is properly maintained, if the learning experience is there, definitely we can groom up the younger citizens of India.
Absolutely,
So,
agreed.
yeah.
Right. I think that's teaching is the I think the only profession where the impact is humongous. You are actually not only teaching them, but giving them a direction on what they can achieve, right, in the long run.
Definite.
And that's also keeps us excited when we look at working with the kids under Kidzpreneur. I think that's what keeps us going when we look at all these bright, energetic, and smart kids coming with new ideas every day.
True.
Right, and this kind of comes to the first question. We are going to talk about experiential learning. So, what is experiential learning according to you, and how is it different from the traditional way of learnings?
See, what we studied, that was the traditional learning that I feel, because the traditional, or what you can call is the conventional learning, normally takes place only in the classroom, where teacher moderates and regulates the flow of information and knowledge. Students are only the passive learners. And this type of learning will focus more on rote learning or memorization, which will then be followed by assessment. And 90% of the times it was seen that the students forget the content that was taught to them after the exam. Exam gone, content gone. But the new concept of experiential learning, which is also an equal part of the national education policy now, as the name suggests, it is a process which is learning through experience. And I totally agree with the statement of Albert Einstein. The only source of knowledge is experience. It comprises of learning activities. This experiential, especially if you talk about it, comprises of learning activities both inside as well as outside the classroom, that are actually designed to actively engage the students to learn by doing. Now, once they learn while doing, they can reflect on the process and the experience, and actively they can create their own surroundings. Their understanding would definitely be enlightened. The basic concepts of experiential learning was taken up by David Colvin Debye, and Kolb actually defined the process wherein the knowledge is created through transformation of experience. So basically what we can say is, in the experiential learning, the child is at the driver's seat and he has to take all the crucial decisions. They actively engage in the process of learning by doing, where he is actually accountable for the results. And the results, definitely, if he has learned everything by his experience, so definitely the results are etched deeply in his mind, and it will form the basis of future learning and experience. So I think experiential learning is the need of the hour right now.
Agreed. I think when I look at the especially the current education policy, I definitely want to go back to school and probably try these again. I was a kid which always wanted to do these experiments on my own. But we have been there's a system which has been inculcated for years, decades. In the education system, the way teachers talk to students and the way students are supposed to perform. How do you think this experiential learning will be incorporated in the education system? How much time do you think it will take for us to imbibe it?
See, it is a lifelong process. Basically, we must say it is not only the school wherein we have to take up the experience and learn. Right from the beginning, when a child is a toddler, you tell him not to touch a hot object, but he will touch. And once he touches, then only he realizes, no, this was wrong. And then with the experience, next time he will not be touching any hot object. So I totally believe in the the quote which is given by Benjamin Franklin. He said, tell me and I forget. Teach me and I may remember. Involve me and I learn. So this is very, very important. Basically, if you talk about experiential learning in the school, it can be brought about in 2 steps. Step 1, we can use the real life projects to reinforce learning. Now, instead of using textbooks to encourage the learning process, give your students hands-on project. This we have started doing from by the time CCE pattern started. But now we are focusing more on it. So hands-on project, let's suppose if I give a very simple example, planting a seed. So planting a seed in a pop bottle, or you give them some blocks and you ask them to make a structure out of it. In case if you are teaching profit and loss, we can create an entire scene of cafe for them. We can have inter-class competition wherein they will be asked to create a cafe and they have to learn. Children will come and buy from them and they will sell, and accordingly later on, once the activity is over, the concept of profit and loss can be very well taken up by the students. So this can be the step 1 process wherein you are giving them the projects, and these projects are actually reinforcing the learning process. Second step, what I believe, is ask reflective questions. In experiential learning, reflection, the reflective questions play a very, very important part. Now, encourage your students to reflect on what they got on their first-hand experiences by asking them very, very simple questions. What did you notice? Why this happened? Does this actually happens in the life also? How can you see that? So when you ask them, naturally what you are doing is you are arousing the curiosity. You are actually acting as a facilitator wherein you are making the child understand each and everything, and you are actually trying to find out whether the child has understood or not. So reflective questions is a very, very important part. So these are the 2 steps which are to be followed. But if you talk about in terms of school, then in school we have n number of activities, and I think most of the schools are doing the same. We have the role plays, we have the field trips, we have films and documentaries, we have video projects, we call up the guest speakers who actually share their experience and the children learn from them. Then you have the portfolios, you have art-based activities, integrated approach basically, group learning, even peer tutoring is like very, very important these days. Peer assessment is equally important. So lab work, wherein they are actually performing and they are understanding the things. So problem-based learning, case-based learning. So different variety of activities can be given to the students depending on their grades, depending on their levels. And in case if you take up these activities and if the child is involved in that particular activity, I'm sure the experiential learning will be taking place in the classroom.
Absolutely, ma'am. Currently, I have been gone through the experiential learning in my school also. They beautifully encountered everything through role plays, through activities, and I guess this was the best way to teach and to learn things also. Would want to know about the benefits of experiential learning from you.
See, benefits are enormous, you can say. Benefits may, if you talk about in the experiential learning part, it will basically accelerate the learning. Now, this methodology uses the critical thinking, problem solving, decision making to deliver any particular training module. Now, it will also provide you a safe learning environment. How? Simulations are a part of experiential learning. And they can even use the real life scenario to depict any particular challenge if it is coming up. Another thing, if you talk about in the experiential learning, it will always bridge the gap between the theory and the practice. So by moving beyond the theory to the realm of learning by doing the training part, like the child gets the first hand experience of practicing what has been taught. This will also have a you can say demonstrable mindset changes. This is another benefit of it. Engagement level will be enhanced. Then retention power. Yes, retention power will be more than 80%, what I feel. Simply reading is 10%, then visual 20%. And similarly, if you talk about the experiential learning, it is more than 80%. The retention power is quite more. Personalized learning is there. And it also allows the students to take the ownership of their own learning experiences, leading to less distraction and higher engagement. So since it is a process of learning by doing, so the reflective questions will actually benefit the students a lot. And I must say that it is a perfect learning style for all the ages and all the grades. It will also allow the child to experiment with knowledge firsthand compared to the traditional learning method. Then with this, what we have felt personally in school is that the motivation level and the commitment level of the children rises up. And another thing, since like each and every child gets the opportunity to speak up, so naturally the leadership skills are also honed. So you have n number of benefits of experiential learning, and that is the reason if you check on the schools these days, like the planner is full of activities. What we didn't experience, now our children, our kids are experiencing. And I think in case if we go at the same pace, definitely we will have in future coming years, we will have India with what we are talking about, Atmanirbhar Bharat will definitely will be there.
Absolutely, ma'am. We wish to become that India.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on to the next question, like how technology can enhance the learning curve in student in present scenario?
See, technology, if you talk about, like if you talk about the COVID situation right now, only everything has moved on to the online education. And like e-learning, what we had thought of India to be digitalized and completely digitalized in the 21st century, now we feel that even we have seen that the teachers who were not very, very tech savvy, and now they have become quite tech savvy, and with n number of activities like training modules, they are enhancing their knowledge. So technology integration and curriculum will guide, expand, and enhance the objective. So technology has basically managed to impact and involve our lives in more than one way. So if we talk about the student community, if we talk about us only, like it has come a long way from sitting in the open sky, like earlier in the Gurukul time. Basically, experiential learning has come from the essence basically is from Gurukul only, wherein the task was given by the Guru, and the Shishya used to perform each and every task. So that was, everything was through experiential learning. The same thing, the student community, if you talk about these days, it has come a long way from sitting in the open sky or crumpled little wooden benches and tiny classrooms. But now if you see, normally the schools, the private schools are like 5-star hotels. The modern glitzy classroom with neat and big table and chairs with green boards, and the smart boards are there in each and every class. Even if you talk about teachers now, teachers have a plethora of teaching material at their disposal. So technology has revolutionized the teaching process and beyond the classroom. So if you talk about cloud computing, e-learning, now it has come from desktop to the mobile screen. E-books, now these days books were not available. We were not able to give the books to the children. So all the material was given via the mails, via on the internet, all the e-material was available. E-books were given. So it makes the hassle-free learning. Students, if you talk about technology, so students and teachers are learning in a more interactive and multi-way, although there are some disadvantages also, but it is there. And classrooms have become more collaborative. This is what I personally feel. New applications are coming day by day, and with the recent advancement of the augmented reality and virtual reality, the learning process has really become so advanced. I still remember when we were taught the topic of atoms, we had to assume, we had to think over how the atom actually looks like, how is it rotating around the orbit, and what exactly is happening. But now through the smart classes, through the modules, the children are actually able to understand the concept very, very well. If you have to show them the blast furnace and the working of the blast furnace, it's very, very easy these days. So and now the virtual reality part, the augmented reality, if you want to study the parts of butterfly with augmented reality, you can study so well. So I feel the technology has really, really enhanced the learning curve in the students these days.
So I think these are very interesting point, and I am very happy that a teacher is talking about virtual reality, augmented reality.
Yeah.
These are things which, as entrepreneurs, we talk about, and we always think that there definitely need more knowledge sharing, which has to happen, awareness has to happen. So you're talking, we are talking about a lot about the education system and teachers being trained on all these new aspects and new technologies and new ways of learning. Uh, the other side, which is the parent side, right? How do you think they should be equipped with this information? Because I think a lot of onus will come when the kids are, and kids today are back home. They are not going to school. So everything today is dependent on parents more than teachers today. So how do you think that support system should be created for parents?
See, actually now the parents have stepped into the shoes of the teachers, and now they are realizing that handling kid is very, very difficult. So the challenges we are also facing, we get calls from the parents because like most of them are not so tech savvy, and there are various challenges that are coming up to the parents these days.
Right.
But it is really good that most of the parents have taken up this as positively, and they are using the technology. And like what we have seen is like we had guided our teachers to guide the parents how to go about for each and every step. Like suppose if you have taken an assessment and you have to guide the parent how to upload it, so we prepare the videos and we give it to the parents. And now looking at each and every step, the parents are actually getting into it. If the parents are from the IT background, then there is no problem, but we face the problem when it comes to housewives, and they have n number of other chores of the house to do. But then like when the proper guidance or counseling is done, so they are able to do, and they are now realizing that it is really very tough for the teachers to take up the activities for them for preparing presentations. So now I feel that the parents have actually realized, and they are also taking this as a positive thing, because they also understand this is not the right time wherein the school should be open and the child should go to the school. So online education, I feel that the parents are also taking up in a positive manner.
Right. So there is one question which I always wanted to ask an educator. This is something which I keep discussing within the team also. Uh, the way we have, taught kids today and in the past also, there was also always a difference between the two genders. Girls are supposed to wear pink, only play with balls. Boys are supposed to play with cars, right? And I think today things have changed. So this experiential learning, how do you think this would change this gender biasness, which is, I think, more deeply rooted because of the way we have been, growing up.
Very nice question. This normally no one asks this question. How can this gender biasness can be changed? See, I feel that experiential learning is basically a multi-sensory and a multidisciplinary learning process, wherein each child is given the opportunity to be a part of the group. So when a boy and a girl, they are taking equal part in any particular activity, so what we feel is that biasness will automatically go, and that is the reason why we have the co-ed schools.
Right.
We even, like, when we have the counseling sessions for the parents, we tell them कि अगर boy is crying तो आप उसको मना मत करिए. It is the natural emotion which has to come up. You cannot say that कि नहीं, boys will not cry. How can you cry? You are a boy. You cannot. But that is the emotion. That is a part that has to actually take up. Like, I don't think so that this should be one of the criteria कि नहीं, boys should only play with the car. My son plays with the dolls also. So that we as parent, we need to be educated. There is no harm. The child can. Now, if you talk about the present situation, if you talk about the COVID situation, there is no domestic help. The child observes that the father is also equally helping the mother at home. So there is no difference if both of them are working, or even if one is working and other is not working. That doesn't say that you will be not helping your spouse in either of the ways. So whatever I feel, whatever the child sees at home, that is what he takes up, because the first school for a child is the home. See, in school we can guide, we can tell, we can have various counseling sessions, we have the life skill classes, we have the moral education wherein we are telling, but the basic place is the home, wherein the child actually learns the basic parts. So whatever he observes at home with the parents, the same thing he will be learning in like in future too. He will get that mindset. So these things can be removed via experiential learning, and you have activities for it. And when you design the activities, the teacher has to first check on what are the learning outcomes of it. So once the learning outcomes are designed, so then accordingly the teacher will frame the entire network, and then she will perform the activity in such a way wherein there will be no boy or girl as such. It will be equal participation, and they will all be a student. There will be no discrimination between a boy or a girl.
Right. Thank you. I think that's a wonderful advice. That is something which. So I have a 12-year-old daughter, right, and she wants to become a gamer,
Okay.
and I always want to support, because she wants to become a cook, a doctor, and a gamer together, and I'm okay with that. I think that's that's the kind of learning which we need to support for both, and everybody should learn to cook. I think that's a life skill today, especially.
That is very positive and very nice to hear from you that you are ready for her to become a gamer, because like this is what I would like to convey to the parents also. Okay, every child cannot be a doctor or an engineer, right? The mindset I have seen, the moment the child passes class 10th, the next thing is कि madam science ही दीजिए आप. So this problem we face a lot. We tell them it is not only science. You take up humanities, you have so many career options in that. You check on what the child is good at. We ask them to go for the psychometric test, but then that mindset has to be changed.
Agreed.
So the experiential learning should be for all, I think so.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, before ending the session, I would really want you to give some suggestions for teachers, students, and parents.
Sure, Nishtan. See, as I just now said, I request all the parents to believe in their children and try and explore their talent. See, every child cannot be a doctor or an engineer. There are like so many job opportunities. There are so many different courses which are coming up. Just explore them and give them that opportunity. Give them that the authority. Ki, yeah, beta, you can check on ki what exactly do you want. For teachers, I would suggest that you are into a very, very noble profession, and take this profession very, very religiously, because this profession will actually foresee how our India, how our country would be in future. We are no doubt talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat. We are talking about the Startup India concept, but are we actually innovating? Are we actually like exploring on new things? That part only the teacher, the facilitator, the mentor can do. So don't take your job just lightly. Think that you are actually the person who can create a child. So in case if that thing is taken up positively by the teachers, I think in future definitely we will not be dependent on other countries for the thing that is going on right now. I will not discuss, but then like we will not be dependent on other countries. We will be having all the things in our country. And the I'll just take one more minute, because like the concept that has taken up by the government, the ATL labs, that is a beautiful concept, the Atal Tinkering Lab, which is actually helping the students in the innovations in tinkering and revolutionizing. So for the children, I would suggest ki, just uh, explore your talent, see what is there in you, and do not get carried away by the negative thoughts. Be always be optimistic. You have a lot of caliber and you can give your best. And if you are good at music, if you're good at dance, it's absolutely fine. It is not that you have to go to the Fidzi or to the Narayanas, or you have to become doctor only, or you have to become the engineers only. Be yourself. And if you are yourself, then definitely you can do wonders, because you will be able to take up your career as per your choice, and you will not be regretting it in the future. So that is what I wish to say to the parents, to the teachers and the students.
I really thank you, ma'am, from parents, teachers, and students to give us such beautiful suggestions. I would like to thank all the students who have been watching us on Facebook Live or going through the recording after the session. Thank you, Jaspreet ma'am, for being a part of KidzLive. These testing times under COVID-19 situation has created a vacuum and forced us to face times we had never dreamt of. Engaging students has become quite an effort, who are forced to stay inside their homes 24/7. This KidzLive initiative, like many others, may help to keep your child engaged and updated. If you want to acknowledge more topics, you may write to us on our Facebook page or on our website, Kidzpreneur.com, and feel free to put any suggestions. Thank you everyone for being the part of KidzLive show, and thank you very much Jaspreet ma'am and Amit sir once again for joining the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jaspreet ji.
Thank you so much. Namaskar.